So now see this in each ingredient and think of a recipe which comes to your mind. Cardamom, milk, rice, sugar, and dry fruits. Pudding, kheer, okay, payas. So we got 3 variation: payas, pudding, rice, kheer. Okay. Anuvarshini is also saying payasam. Okay, so if there are no more responses, then so, but in real practice, because each ingredient you can think of like a code. And when you mix this code, you make a new recipe. And that is like, this analogy is only to give you the analogy between the codes and a drafted manuscript, which you cook out of that code. So in real practice, cooking is easy. It looks easy to you because right now you have seen the ingredient and everyone started typing it because you have been tuned to, for so many years, it is there traditionally into our culture. So it automatically striked. But since that is not that easy with data, but you know, this history of kheer is also 2000 years back, because this K.T. Acharya, he this article was drafted by him, and he wrote this, that you know, it took around 2000 years to reach to this and giving a name payas or kheer. So truly speaking, this is not easy, the job to make a draft, a theme, or to draft the overall concept or theory out of that code. It comes with practice. So initially we will advocate that you try doing qualitative descriptive research. Once you do 3 or 4 qualitative descriptive, then you try doing all those grounded theory or phenomenology. That is the interpretive qualitative research. Now, have you, any one of you is a fiction lover? In this case, fiction novel lover, or any novel which you have read? We discussed this in that first session also. Mystery, murder mystery, that grounded theory. But in this case, did we discuss, have you gone through? Surender is writing yes. Which novel, Surender? You can unmute and answer.
I'm more of classical, William Thackeray and all. Not like, yeah, I have read Sidney Sheldon and this Louisa L'Amour and this guy, Agatha Christie I have read, yes.
Okay, okay, good to know. So those of you who read, you know that there is a flow in the writing, especially if it is a storytelling or especially if it is an event telling. So how they arrange their stories chapter wise, didn't they? Any book you write, first they write like how the reader should read the book. That is also one instructions, that how you should use the book to get the maximum out of it. And second thing, they write in a flow, and they write the novel in a chapter. So similarly, think of your manuscript as a novel, and each category you can think of a chapter. Like in this case, maybe if I take Kavita's example, she made 8 categories. So if you think that you will keep, first you will decide whether to keep all categories or you want to keep few important one and want to leave others. But if you want to keep the 8 categories, then the 8 categories are maybe like chapter. Or if you are telling these category as a theme, so if you are merging categories into theme, then the theme will be 8 chapter. Not 8 means number of themes which you decide. So whether it is category discussion or theme discussion, try to imagine it as a chapter. And now you have to write this chapter, but the linking of the 2 chapters should be in line. Means the reader should feel like you are narrating something, you are telling storytelling. And storytelling is not only in the narrative analysis. Whatever you are writing, even if you are doing a qualitative descriptive, there should be a link between the first and the second category, or first and the second theme, and the next theme should be in connection with the previous theme. So similarly, like this we have discussed, and we recommend SQC format for this. So what is this format? So this SQC format, we find it easy to draft a manuscript based on this SQC format. But if you think that you don't need this format, and this is not something very standardized that we will say that everybody should do it like this. No, we are just proposing one way. If you are fine with your own way, those of you who have already done it, or if you have your own way, that is okay, because we have seen that there is a wide diversity in the write-up of the this qualitative research paper. But this SQC format for beginners, or for we find it more technical, and a person like science background, I find it easy. So this SQC setup, this background, we call it this SQC format. This S is for the setup, and this Q is for the quote, which you have seen yesterday, how to retrieve the quotes. Because I think one of the participants, they ask also, what is the use? Like if we have made the category in the Excel, why we are again going and categorizing it in the QDA minor light? So yesterday we emphasized that you need a quote also to support your result, to support your finding. So this quote, and this quote can be one quote. There are many quotes for one theme. At least 3-4 quotes are there. So we are exemplifying it with one quote. So you can see here that it has started with a setup, then there is a quote, and then there is a comment or conclusion, you can say. So the setup in this case, can anyone will read this for me? Surender, you can read. The setup you can read.
Yeah, ma'am. Almost all participants conveyed the importance
Start with a theme. Start with a theme, please.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, theme 2. Nurses provided supplements and nutritious food for their families. Almost all participants conveyed the importance of consuming vitamins, supplements, and nutritious food to prevent them from getting COVID-19. They provided additional vitamins and nutritious food for their families. The participants believed that nutritious food could increase stamina and prevent them from getting COVID-19.
Okay, thank you. So in the setup, you can say that it's the basic introduction of the theme. And overall impression, because in this theme, you are going to not exactly in the form of a quantitative manner, but you are going to say something about the magnitude, how many participants said this. So like you are writing here, that author is writing almost all participants, they conveyed the importance of consuming vitamin supplement and nutritious food. And then again, it is supported by a quote. So can someone read this quote? Anuvarshini, can you read this quote?
Yes, ma'am. Personally, I provide multivitamins to increase immunity. Ma'am, I do it for illness prevention to my family. On the other hand, food is needed for our body, which I learned from pathophysiology.
Thank you. And then, so this quote is the participant quote, and you can see in the bracket, they have written P7. So it is up to you. You can give some more identifier also, or you can give this P7. I have seen many people, they don't give identifier, but one should give some identifier. And we will see in the later part of the this presentation that many a times you may give the frequency of the some common codes also. If your number of codes are less, or if you have merged and refined your codes, then you can give frequency. Like yesterday we have seen code frequency, so you can give the table of those code frequency also. And then the third part is the comment. So comment is basically what what is the author, that author's idea, that will come in more in the discussion. But overall, a summary of this discussion, you can theme, you can give it in the comment. Like in this case, you can see that can someone read this? Maybe Monica, can you read this? Are you there? Mamta? Are you there? No. Ekta? No, these people are not there. So let me, Ashwini, I can see you, your name.
Yes, ma'am. comments. The nurses provided additional chemical and natural supplements to their families. The natural supplement they gave to their family, especially children, included honey, dates, and what is that? Habitus
Yeah, yeah, something is there.
They
Even
believed
I don't know.
they believed that these supplement increased body immunity.
So as a reader, what you felt? That they should have explained what is this habitus sarda, whatever it is. So they should have, because this must be some local thing. So they should have written it in the bracket, some, local name of this medicine, or maybe it may be some homeopathy medicine, some Ayurvedi, or some locally this thing, whatever is that, because that author must be knowing it. What is that? So that's why I was also thinking that the author should have written in the bracket, the defined it. What is that? Okay, so he has again given the, let me attach the charger to my laptop, sorry. So he should have given the description of this last item which he has written. And again, you can see that he has elaborated. I mean, in the comment, you elaborate more on the quote, like the types of thing which they have given, and many other thing like, and in this case, there is a whatever analytical memo you have written, you can take help from that also, because while you are writing your memo, you are writing many other things also. So you can take help of the analytical memo if you are writing the theme. So setup is the first sentence of any theme, and this part is very important, and it should be written as a transition with the previous paragraph. So like we were discussing, we read a novel, there is a connections between the two chapters or between the two paragraphs. Similarly, in theme also, because this setup SQC format is for every theme or category. So once you change the category or you change the theme, there should be some connection with the previous paragraph, so that the readers should not feel that it is fragmented. Many times you will you see a movie and you think that the director did not plan it well, and the story, two parallel stories are running, and there is no connection between them, or if they try to make some connections, that connection was not appropriate. Have you felt any time, any moment, any movie which you can give example where the director did not connect, or maybe whatever he connected, that we felt that it was not up to the mark, it was fragmented? Okay, so you think of this, I think this feeling must be there was a movie Masan. Have you watched that movie Masan? No. Then in that there are parallel stories going on, I think 2 or 3 parallel story, but it was well connected. So similarly in this case also, you can think that this theme, they are running separately. All the themes are different, but there should be some connections between those themes, so that the reader should know that it is like a story, or it is in the flow. That flow should, the reader should have a feeling of a correct flow when they go through your manuscript. The next sentence should be written in the support of your research question, because you have started with the research question. So in every theme, you try to bring your research question for which you have made the interview guide and for which you took the interview. So it should focus regarding the research question or anything. You will see in many articles, they give the literature excerpts or the some gist of the previous researchers. So you should present some context from the previous literature also. And the last sentence should be written stating that the participant and context for the quote. So you set the context for giving the quotes, and then you write the quote. And your analytical memo, like I said, it plays an important role while you draft your manuscript. So that's why you should write whatever is coming to your mind when you are writing the analytical memo. So many a times, if your analytical memo, if you feel that it's not all analytical memos should be coded, then but the utility of analytical memo is in the this SQC format also. And when you write discussion, that time also it is very important. If you have written analytical memo well, because that time, this writing discussion is also very difficult. And at one time after result, it is not possible to you, possible for you to go again through that process of thinking. So that's why please do, whenever you are making a code, if something is coming to your mind, please write analytical memo at that time only. Even if you code less number of codes in one sitting, and I know that it is not possible to code all the transcript in one go. It takes around, maybe you can take, say, 1 to 2 months. If the number of interviews are more, then it will take 2 months to do a whole analysis. So that's why when you are reading the transcript, when you are doing the coding, please write analytical memo, because all the thinking process cannot be done at one point when you are writing the discussion. So you have thought a lot when you are doing the coding. So that's why analytical memo will help you in the writing discussion also. So quote, you select the quote judiciously and don't go by the length of the quote. If the quote is very small, but it is very apt or very catchy, and many times you have gone through many articles and you have seen that the people, most of the time, what we do as a researcher, we take that quote and quote it in the article. So in the article also, we try to use that quote as a metaphor of our maybe research question or maybe our inquiry. So you can choose a small quote also, and you should give identifier also in the bracket, not the direct identifier, but the indirect identifier, because that conveys regarding the background of the participant. Although you have mentioned it in the methodology, but still, whether it is a voice of a female or a male, or what profession, or maybe at what capacity. So all these things, if you give the identifier, that is important. And then in the C, you write the comment. So comment, there should be at least one sentence following a quotation after that, and avoid ending the paragraph on a quote. But you will see in many articles, they end the quote, they end the paragraph on a quote. And I have seen many articles which starts with a quote. So again, I said that nothing is right or wrong in qualitative. It's the way you think what is most suitable for you. So we are just giving a guideline, but it is not, I'm not recommending that you should use this guideline only. If you feel that it is of utility, you should use it. But we have tried seeing this, and many qualitative researchers, they recommend this SQC format. And we also use this SQC format. Now you can have a visualization of that finding. And we talked regarding that XGL coding and the tree map. And many a times in many software, these options are there. It is, if you are not able to think of any other visual presentation, then at least you can give the table of the theme, sub-theme, category, and maybe the code frequency. Like you can see here, the title of this research was the Dignified Palliative Long-Term Care and Interpretive Systemic Framework of the End-of-Life Integrated Care Pathway for Terminally Ill Chinese Older Adults. And you can see that the author has given the, they refined, you can see the number of codes or category he has not mentioned, but maybe we can take the number of refined codes, and you can see that he has given the number of people also whom he interviewed, like family caregivers, the RCHE staff, medical professionals, management administrator, and how many times they said so. They have written like regulatory empowerment. So this bold one, I think this was maximum people said this, so they have highlighted this with 50, 45 and so on. So this is one way of doing it, but you can try your creativity also, but it is not always easy. So this was one of the interpretive system framework of end-of-life pathway of Chinese older adults. And you can see that there are 3 types of care which they have defined. And here you can see on the basis of that broad theme which they selected, it was the socio-cultural context, socio-political, and socio-spiritual. So these 3 are the broad theme, and they have written the, this is basically the category and the codes, and this is how they have tried to put that visualization of the data. So you can have that visualization of the data if your data is very rich, and if you try thinking, you can take help of few more colleague also. You 2-3 people can sit, because when you talk, we talked about this shop talking. Remember what was shop talking? Can anyone say what was shop talking which we talked?
Have to discuss with our colleagues and
Yes.
seniors so that we can get their feedback and their opinions also.
Yes, Bhavna. Not only seniors, any junior also, if you do, when you try speaking about your project, then idea will come to your mind also. It is not necessary. I mean, many time your senior might not be able to give you something, because they have, if they are not interested in qualitative, or they have not done the literature review, but still you keep talking to someone, even with your family members also, if you keep talking to them while you are articulating, then maybe many things will strike you.
Yes.
Remember that there was a scene, has someone seen that movie Sarfarosh, that Amir Khan movie? I don't know, because
Yes,
oh
ma'am.
yes. So remember at that time that there was a place like, I think Kheda Naka or something, where they have gone to catch that Mirchi Seth. Mirchi Seth, or one of the person of the Mirchi Seth, and there was some fight which went, and then there was some band over the I think upper arm of that person which got torn, and when Amir Khan was narrating this story to Sonali Bendre, then it struck to his mind that that particular thing got fallen off there in that beside some bushes or something. And then he went again with that plaster on, in maybe he cut the plaster, and then he went to look for that. Can you recall, those of you who have seen it?
Yes,
So what was that? So Amir Khan was narrating this to Sonali Bendre, and then it came to his mind that I missed it. So that's why we call it that you should narrate things. You should talk, you should narrate things. And if you narrate, then also, idea comes to your mind. And this, I think with me, this happens many times. If I start talking, if I start saying something, and then I make myself also something is going in my mind. And then, but again, at that time, do write down your idea, whatever is coming, like how you should present. And you should be in that qualitative mode all the time, thinking about the project. Then only these things strike. Otherwise, it is difficult. So there are innovative ways of presentations, like preclinical medical student understanding of. This was one article which got published in BMJ Open, preclinical medical student understanding of academic and medical professionalism, visual analysis of mind map. So here what they did, they gave this, what to say? They taught how to make mind maps with some broad guideline to the pre-med student. And then they asked them to make a mind map. And then when the student made the mind map, they analyzed those mind maps in the Atlas TI, and then they did the visual analysis. So you can see this was one of the mind map. This was the visual metaphor indicating a difficult journey from academic to medical professionalism. So can anyone explain this diagram? Show me I'll have the list of the participants.
May I?
Yeah, please.
Ma'am, the caricature that is being shown here, it is telling that initially when we are starting any thing new, then there are storms and rains and the mountain is very high. But as we progress in the way, the slope, even the mountain's height are reducing. And then finally we are able to run freely. It's a sunny day. There are no more hurdles. And by the time we become expert, it's just like taking a flight. So that is what I'm interpreting.
Yes. Can anyone else explain this? Kavita? Or yes.
And the slide stage comes at the last one.
Bhavna?
Ma'am, I said the flight stage comes at the last only. It is a long.
Yes. Any other interpretation? What we were thinking that that person was late and he could not.
Yeah, ma'am. I think he missed the flight.
Yeah, he missed the flight, and the flight, it missed the flight or missed the life, whatever. Because the flight is a maybe metaphor of life.
Yes, ma'am.
So it is so difficult that you are, once you have reached to your destination to catch a flight, and catching a flight is like leading a life happily. So once you try doing that, you realize that the whole time has gone. So we were thinking like that. Maybe I said that it is qualitative. So everybody has their own interpretation. So you can explain. I mean, that is also right, because nothing is right or wrong. Okay. So if you collect data from different group of participants for your study, so try comparing those similarities and dissimilarities among those perceptions. And we have used the concept of versus coding, which you have to read from Saldana. Don't forget, please. And if you read, if you did this mixed method study also, then you should represent some quantitative finding to supplement the theme. And many of you are going to either do it or planning or already submitted a proposal or already did it. So you all are in the different phases. In this case, like that was one theme maybe which we thought like you could just to show it as an example, that one theme could be benefits of online teaching. So that sub theme could be like it is convenient. So if it is convenient, then maybe you can start with some setup. Then you can, this is, we have just, this is like French, and this is again the, not the quote. So don't get confused that this is the quote. So we have just, you replace this with quote. This is the setup. And then in this, you may write that like the 90% of the student, they found that the online teaching was convenient, or like majority of the students were in favor of online teaching, or majority of the students were in favor of offline teaching. So those things, that quantitative thing is there with you in the frequency. So you can put those things in the words, and again, you can express that. Okay, here in the, just to quantify your qualitative research that we did yesterday also, quantification of our quality research, qualitative research, or this is like maybe a type of magnitude coding. So you can write almost, majority, none, very few. So all those coding, you should use the magnitude coding. You can make a table also, like we have shown in that table in the previous slides. You can do that also. So this was regarding how to do the manuscript writing or the result writing.